Hi, I'm Dr. B, and welcome to this video series. It's going to be hopefully pretty short on what we can do with telemedicine acupuncture and herbal therapy. So the first video I'm going to talk to you today just very briefly about is what we can do to help support your body should you be affected by COVID. As you know, COVID-19 is taking the country right now. I'm making this in just the end of March of 2020. And it can present as anything from a minor irritation to a lethal problem. Fortunately, Chinese medicine, which has been around for 2,000 years, has made its fund of knowledge out of what we call empiric research. And what empiric research is essentially observational research. They watched how things happened, how they went, they made a note of it, but they were also doing trials on people. They tried different things, herbs, acupuncture points, and over the years distilled the data of what worked to address these things. So Chinese medicine has an actual template for the pattern diagnosis of what we're seeing with COVID. Actually, this came up again just about 20 years ago with SARS, came up again with MERS, but about every 17 to 25 years, sometimes it goes a little longer, sometimes it's a little shorter, there's a novel infection that affects humans where we don't have immunity. And you all know about how that happened with, the bats sort of mixing with the other animals, and the DNA of the two viruses come together, and it just presents proteins that we have no immunity to. So there's no herd immunity, which means no one around you is immune and you're not immune. So what happens with the episodic heat illness in Chinese medicine terms is that it enters through the front, and it is a hot illness. And what that means for you is that in the case of people who have very strong immunity, their systems are strong, or they're young and immature, they, don't mount they mount a little bit of a response to it, but they're able to clear it very easily. And obviously the ones who don't are the ones who get into trouble. So what we can do is prescribed by Chinese medicine for thousands of years. Fortunately, a gentleman, John K. Chen, who's a PhD and a PharmD, who has written the quintessential book on Chinese herbal medicine in English, so he's kind of our official go-to guy, took the 3 published protocols on how to help treat COVID and distilled them for us. And he gave this wonderful academic lecture just a week or 2 ago. That was just an excellent lecture in Western medicine or Eastern medicine. It was just wonderfully academic. And he distilled the similarities and differences of 3 published types of approaches to COVID. One was from Wuhan Hospital, the other was from Hubei provincial government, and the third was from the Chinese national government. So combining all these, showing where they were the same, where they were different. And Chinese medicine is complicated. There's no one disease, one pill. It has, COVID has a prevention, Chinese medicine has a prevention strategy for COVID, and that's sort of a one size fits all. But in terms of the actual acute illness, it can look very different in very different people. As you know from already following this, especially if you're a physician, you'll know that some people just get the aches and pains and never complain about a respiratory thing. Other people don't get much aches and pains, but they get diarrhea and the heavy chest and the shortness of breath, and that can, of course, progress to the ARDS, the adult respiratory distress syndrome, the ground glass, and the very, very acute fibrosis after the cytokine storm. So those are very different approaches requiring different sorts of herbal approaches in Chinese medicine. There are approaches, though, for the prevention phase, all the different manifestations of the acute illness, and the convalescent phase. The unfortunate thing is there are some shortages right now for the acute phase treatments, but there are also some available, so we can help with that. In terms of those folks who don't have it and don't want to get it, there are prevention strategies. There's even a study he reviewed, a very, very preliminary observational study of using the preventative herbal formula on Wuhan hospital workers. And it does seem, when you divided the hospital workers, the ones who got the preventative fared a lot better. So I think they started giving it to everybody. We can treat in the acute phase if we have the opportunity to, and then there's the convalescent phase. And one thing I think that's going to start to become clear very soon is there's going to be a large burden of residual illness after this. This is a heavy-duty infection, even in the healthiest people. So some people may or may not have some lung issues, and we have some strategies to help strengthen the lung. I'm not sure if we can break apart fibrosis that's there, but we might be able to at least try to put energy in that direction, trying to kind of get things a little bit stronger. We can't fix the damage that's scarred, but making things stronger around it. And we have strategies for just that general systemic depletion. One of the things they're thinking is another system, breaking down the ones related to our digestive system and our overall strength that we have some options for. So that's and then of course there's acupuncture. Look at the next video. We'll talk a little bit how we do the acupuncture telemedicine wise. Obviously the herbs, we can just write a prescription and send those in. So we look at your tongue, and we'll talk a little bit about that too. Get your full history and make a considered effort to write the proper formula. And you set that up with the company that makes the formula. It's the Herbal company. They're one of the best in the world, and they're the best in the United States in that they have the highest quality, lowest contamination rates. They're a wonderful company, and they ship directly to you. So that's the introduction to what we can do with COVID. The next video, we'll talk a little bit about how we do telemedicine for not just COVID, but all telemedicine that we can do with acupuncture and with Chinese herbs. Thanks for watching.